Hello and welcome to wherever you are. This is the Saturday show. We are doing a shorter version because actually, as especially now come to the end of the season, I am going to be just doing a bit of a short, well, not from a. I still do hour, but I will start at a later time going forward till the end of the season. But listen, we've got loads to talk about over this past week as well. We'll talk about the European competitions. Both Tottenham and Manchester United in the final, or another All England final since 2019. We also will talk about the EFL playoffs, especially the Championship playoffs in the last couple of days, about the controversial red card at Ashton Gate. Was it a red card or not? We will discuss about that. And also, we'll look at all the games later on today throughout this weekend in the fixtures as well. Some other news past weeks happening as well, including we know that Xabi Alonso has confirmed he will be leaving Bayer Leverkusen at the end of this season. So we'll just get the fixtures up to this morning and discuss today's fixtures. No, there's no 12:30 kickoff today in the Premier League, but these 5 games in the Premier League, Everton go away to Fulham, Brentford are away to relegate Ipswich Town, Southampton at home against Manchester City, alongside Wolves against Brighton, and a 5:30 kickoff between both these teams of trying to get into European spots. Bournemouth against Aston Villa, and in the bottom six of the Scottish Premiership as well, Hearts are home against Motherwell. Dundee go away to Kilmarnock, St Johnstone at home to Ross County, and then in the top six games, Hibs, go away down to Parky to face Celtic, and Dundee United against St Mirren. And later on in the League One playoff at 12:30, later on against Stockport County, and then later on at 8 o'clock in the League Two playoff, it's Notts County against AFC Wimbledon. Going down in the Scottish One League playoff, Edinburgh City, they take a 1-0 lead advantage away up to East Fife to later on today at 3 o'clock. And in the Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid at home to Real Sociedad, which is the main big game at 8 o'clock. And in the German Bundesliga, already the champions Bayern Munich, they're at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach later as well. And then Serie A, Lazio against Juventus at 5 o'clock alongside as well. For the games tomorrow, there's 5 games in the Premier League as well. We'll kick off at 12 o'clock live on BT Sport. Newcastle against Chelsea, while Manchester United home to West Ham. Leicester City go away to Nottingham Forest. Tottenham Hotspur against Crystal Palace. And it's a big game in 4:30 between Liverpool against Arsenal as well. And in one game in the Scottish Premiership, in the Championship group, Rangers at home to Aberdeen, and then 2 games in the EFL playoff, Wycombe at home to Chatham Athletic at 6:30. Then earlier in the day, it'll be Chesterfield against Walsall in League Two at 3:30. And then also a couple of games in La Liga, the El Clasico tomorrow as well between Barcelona and Madrid at 3:15. That's going to be a huge game for both Barcelona to try to divide themselves in the title race as well. Bayer Leverkusen at home to Borussia Dortmund, which will be Xavi Alonso's final game against Borussia Dortmund as Bayer Leverkusen coach. In Serie A tomorrow, 2 teams are vying for the title. Torino at home to Inter Milan, while Napoli are still ahead with 3 points ahead of against Genoa at 7:45 tomorrow evening as well. So, yeah. And also Monday night, we also got the overturn leg between Sheffield United and Bristol City, which we'll go delve into shortly in a second as well. So that's all the stuff happening in the fixtures this past week. But as I say, we've got a guest on today, and joining us, he would have been nervous ahead of the game yesterday, but luckily he's come through unscathed, and they take a slight advantage back to staying alive. It's good morning to Michael. Michael, good morning.
Good morning to you. Have you still spent all week basking in Leeds' title win?
Yes, especially being in the bucket hat as well. So wearing my bucket hat this past week.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Well, glad to know that. But yeah, I feel like I think I put this on Twitter. I think that last night's game was literally prematurely aged me about 5 years in the span of 2 hours. The amount of stress was just unbelievable. I'm reminded. I think Leeds and Burnley fans watching that will be quite relieved they got the job done and got automatics and don't have to worry about the bloody playoffs. But no, I'm not taking away football. I'm not doing too badly. I'm not doing too badly.
well, that's good anyway. That's good anyway. Listen, we'll start off looking at the EFL playoffs, and do you want to start off on the Thursday night game?
Yeah.
I know Annie I wish Andy was on here, could have his say, but we'll have to talk about the game at Bramwell at Ashton Gate. A controversial red card in for Bristol City after losing 3-0 to Sheffield United in the first leg. Goals from Harrison Buzz for the penalty, and Brooks and O'Hare got the two late goals in the game as well. Rob Dickey was sent off
Yeah.
after bringing down
Kiefer Moore.
Kiefer Moore down in the box. There was, Liam Manning was very enraged, about, despite Rob Dickey got a slight touch, there's been debate, was it a red card or not? Uh, Michael, give your take on the penalty decision. Are you surprised? Are you not surprised how Liam Manning has come out frustrated after the game, and especially with the official, it's the same official again. I think it's
Oliver Langford.
Oliver
Well,
Langford.
he was the one who sent Trey Hume off against Bristol City, and the same one who sent Jay De Silva off against Luton a couple of weeks ago. So that's
Mm.
like, so he's got a history of doing this. On the penalty, I think it was a penalty. It's definitely a penalty. I don't think there's any complaints about that. You cannot manhandle WrestleMania style someone in the box and not and if the referee sees it and then not expect a penalty to be given. My my confusion on whether it's a red card or not depends. What's the rule? Is the double jeopardy rule meant to be a thing? I thought it was meant to be. If it was someone who's last man but it's in the box, it's a yellow. Outside the box, it's a red. Now, unless something's been updated on the rules that I don't know about, then I I I don't know. I don't know on that front. But I will say this: Bristol City stayed well. And well, actually, I'll tell you what. We can talk about the game in a minute. But yeah, no, I think it was definitely a penalty. I'm unsure whether it was a red card. I don't know what you think.
It's a hard one. Look, I try to see both sides. I know, seeing some film officials like like Keith Hackett said it was a correct decision. Troy Deeney and Jobin Wacken on Sky, they said it was a red card. It was a red card, especially the way of Robert Digger manhand was grappling, Kiefer Moore. But the problem the rules is, excuse me, was it a red card? Especially what the rule is if it's outside the box. But did it start? Did it start outside the box that led into the penalty box, or do you think it just? I don't know. It's a hard one to say, but I think in my mind, I may have to say it was a red card in a way because yes, he got the touch after he grabbed Moore down. That was for what
Yeah.
I saw. Look at again, but it's anyone's guess.
To be fair, I mean, yeah, it all comes. I suppose it comes down to the intent of Rob Dickey, doesn't it? So if say he did that but managed to kick the ball first and then proceeded to manhandle Kiefer Moore, which sounds really wrong when I say it like that. But when you get the ball first, then I suppose there's an argument for that. But from what I'm trying to get the clip up of the I'm trying to get the clip up a bit now, but just to quickly try and see it again. But like to be fair, if he does end up getting the man first, then maybe with that in mind, I can understand why Langford sent him off. I mean, but I suppose it's one of them, really, where isn't it? Where it's sorry, I keep looking this way, so I'm trying to get the clip
No,
up.
it's fine. Yeah,
If it's against your team, you're probably going to be livid. If it's for your team, you're going to say it's a decision that should have gone your way. So it's hang on, I'm just trying. Hang on, that's the penalty. I'm trying to look at the. Oh, it doesn't actually show it. But no, to be fair, on the game itself, I think the game was actually quite close. I don't know if you watched it, but the game was very close. I thought in 11v11.
I was out. I was actually out at my
Oh,
you
well,
at
there you go. Then
my
I'll be able to provide for you.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah, okay. So Tyrese Campbell scored a goal that was deemed
Offside.
offside.
I saw the highlights of it.
Yeah,
So
okay, fair
yeah.
enough. And then obviously you saw that Bristol City hit the bar not long after that. So it was quite an even. It was a finally, maybe Sheffield United looking slightly better, but I wouldn't say it was. I'd say the game was finally poised on a bit of a knife edge at 11v11. Once that red card happened, I felt that Bristol City to have any chance of getting through had to win the first leg and had to take a lead back to Bramall Lane. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't put it past Bristol City to win the game on Monday night, but the problem is it going to be enough to overturn a 3-0 deficit? Probably not. Really, as soon as the penalty went in and they went down to 10 men, I thought, right, the best they can hope for is just keep it at 1-0 and see if they can keep themselves in the tie going into the second leg. But credit to Sheffield United, because sometimes when you play against 10 men, it's a bit harder because then obviously they're going to have to try and put 10 men behind the ball. You know, you're going to, 9 men behind the ball. You're going to have to try and break them down even harder. And it's a difficult situation to be in sometimes. But to be fair to them, they took advantage and were ruthless with their chances that they created. I still wasn't convinced by Sheffield United 11v11, but with the man advantage, they did exactly what they should do. They did exactly what they had to, and barring a miraculous recovery from Bristol City, I think Sheffield United have got pretty much 1 3/4 legs in the final.
Yeah, yeah, that I would say that as well. Mathematically, at the moment, where things are ahead of Monday night's game
Yeah, I mean,
at
I fancy
Roundup.
them to get past Bristol City anyway, but especially now.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Reese. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining. Listen, last week with the championship review
Our
final
longest
special,
ever one ever.
it was the most ever. It was the most views on this channel's history. Got nearly 600 views of the since
Brilliant.
last Sunday. Thank you for everyone who watched it as well.
And
That is
to
the
everyone
most.
who watched for the full 2 hours and 40 minutes, well done.
I know, I appreciate that. And we are only one shot away from 90 subscribers. We're trying to get to 100 by the end of the season. So we're only one away from getting up to 90 subscribers. So please like and share and hit the subscribe button and then upcoming videos as well to appreciate that as well. Yes, thank you, Reese. It is incredible, especially week of listening. Yeah, so we're only one away from 90 subscribers. We want to get to 100 by the end of the season. I appreciate that as well. Michael. Good morning, Michael. It's the morning, leave it. As my last name as usual. Well, not my last name anymore, but it's part of it.
Does he
So
normally greet you by your surname? Or by
not
the
really.
by that name?
Not
Oh,
any,
okay.
well, no. Michael's been one of the new subscribers who's
Oh, does
joined.
he keep it
So
unpredictable, does he?
yeah, very much
No,
so.
not a bad way to live. Live it on the edge.
Well, do you know what, Michael? Let's talk about your team, Sunderland, last
Are you
night.
talking Michael in the comments or me?
Y- well,
I thought
depends
I
anyway.
felt like
Yeah,
being a smart ass, but yeah. Yeah, as well. I watched your preview of the Sunderland match against Coventry City on Matt SB Pocket. Matt's a great YouTuber, by the way. I would recommend subscribing to him. He's a really good lad. You were not too confident. You even predicted a Sunderland loss. Well, Michael, first of all, thanks for watching that. When you've seen my dulcet tones for about a minute on Matt's channel. Um, yeah, well, you can tell by the smile on my face, I'm absolutely buzzing with that. But obviously, I'm still trying to keep a level head because there's still another game to go yet in this tie. So, um, yeah, I didn't. Did you watch last night, Carl?
no, I didn't, unfortunately, because I was busy with other stuff. But as I
How dare
said,
you have a life outside of football?
no, it's slowly okay. But give
Yeah,
us your take, because were you watching it last night? I don't, because you didn't go to the game last night.
absolutely. I didn't go, but Ant was trying to get trying to get me to get a ticket for him. Actually, typical Ant fashion. But no, to be fair, I'm I was at there was a bar near the stadium I like called Sheepfolds, which is basically it's like a sort of a food court. You know, like when places have the stacks, you have like different food courts and different
Yeah,
bars
yeah,
and stuff, and it's got a few tables in the middle of a crowded area and everything. It's kind of like that. We've got somewhere called Sheepfolds near the stadium of light, and they have probably one of the biggest screens I've ever watched a game on. It's mental. So yeah, we got there for a few hours beforehand. Just kind of, I mean, I don't drink alcohol, so I just had a few pints of Diet Coke, pretty much, just to get the caffeine in me to get me through the first leg. Um, but yeah, I mean, and obviously, my nerves have been going all over the place all week. And obviously, I'm all right for the moment for the second leg, but once tomorrow night, Monday morning comes, I'll be absolutely bricking it again. But as for last night, yeah, the first half, and I'd be keen to see if anyone in the comments did watch the game. The first half, from an attacking point of view, Sunderland offered next to nothing. We had one effort from Eliza Mayenda that was basically drifted wide, but apart from that, it was pretty much Coventry with a lot of the ball, and bar one or two scrambles that didn't create as much as I was expecting them to. We were kind of sitting off them and trying to sit in and make them and try to have them try to break us down rather. And in general, we defended really, really well. I don't think I have many complaints with it. I just wanted to see a bit more from an attacking point of view because when you've got players like Wilson Isidore, Eliza Mayenda, Enzo Lefebvre, Patrick Roberts, as much as he can be frustrating, you've got Joe Bellingham and Dan Neil in the midfield, then, I think and then hopefully remain Mundell for the second leg, but we'll see. But when you've got players like that, we're too good not to have chances. The first 15 minutes of the second half kind of went along the same vein, where Coventry were having a bit more of the ball and were having more of the territory and the possession and everything else, without creating too much clear cut.
yeah,
But the last half an hour, I think Sunderland started to open up the game a little bit more and we didn't create much, but what we did create were very, very good chances. There's at least 4 good chances I can think of, including the 2 goals. One after I think it was probably about 5 minutes before we actually did score, where we got down the but we got the ball into the box. It was a bit of a goal mouth scramble, but then Ballard just on the edge of the 6 yard box managed to try and fire a shot that was. I think it was either deflected wide or just wide, but from a decent shooting position. So there was that one. Actually, there's another one. There was Trey Hume, where we put the ball into the box, and I think the ball bounced from a set piece, and then Trey Hume was basically free on the left hand side, and then shot over. But then, have you seen the goals?
I saw the goals. Yeah, I did see
Okay.
because I only watched the first half, but I did see the goals. I didn't watch the first half. I did see some of the goals actually after
So
the
are we
games.
saying, guys, that as soon as Carl stopped watching, the game started getting interesting more?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you know what, right? Yeah, I mean, the first goal, I mean, to be fair, I think from Coventry's point of view, the defending for both of our, well, okay, the defending for the first goal would leave me furious if this happened the other way around, but basically it was from a counter attack, which is what our tactic mainly was last night. If you
Yeah,
watch the first half, then you'll see our main threat was trying to be on the break. We managed to get the ball. I think it was I can't remember if it was a Coventry corner or they put a ball in the box from open play, but I think it was Ballard who got the ball, bringing it out of defence. I can't remember if it definitely was Ballard, but then I do remember the ball went to Enzo Lefebvre in the middle, and he plays a fantastic ball through to Wilson Isidore, who in the past in those situations has been constantly offside, and it's infuriating.
yeah.
But this time, he timed his run excellently. And as you know, can you remember what Isidore's last goal was for Sunderland before last night?
I'm gonna say if it's against Crystal Palace, no, look, sorry, Sheffield
Crystal
United.
Palace, I
Sorry,
was going to say.
no. If it was against
Hopefully
Sheffield
that's
United,
next season, but we'll see.
no, if it was against Sheffield United, that's the only thing I can remember. But it might be.
It was against your boys.
Wow, so it was against Leeds.
It was
Yeah,
against Leeds back in February. I think Isidore's been really good this season, but there's no denying he has been struggling for probably a bit of confidence and with that a lack of energy. But he times his run really well, keeps his composure in a massive game, the biggest game he's probably played in for Sunderland so far by some way, and he slots it and then into a really good finish. But then, as you also probably saw, not long after taking the lead and we were going mental, Coventry then scored about a minute later,
yeah.
which I didn't think from our point of view defensively this was particularly good. I thought the ball came across.
Surprising how Jack Rodri was unmarked in that as
I
well.
know he
What?
was unmarked in the 6 yard box. I was absolutely screaming at the TV. I was so infuriated by the effort we put in to get in front, and then you've just switched off in that moment. But I'm not surprised. Jack Radoni is a really good player. I really like him. Obviously, I can't remember if me and Annie definitely had him in our team of the season. So
I did, yeah.
I thought you did, yeah. So it's a hat trick for we all had him in our team of the season, so we were really impressed with his performances for Coventry. So I'm not surprised that he had an involvement in the game. He scored twice against Borough, I believe, to confirm Coventry's place in
He
the playoffs.
did, yeah.
So last week, so obviously he's a really good player, and you could tell he was trying to make things happen, pull the strings, everything else. So I'm not surprised that we didn't keep a clean sheet, even though I was annoyed at it at the time. But one of the biggest things from my perspective was Sunderland not crumbling after that moment, because Coventry again got the ball quite quickly, tried to, because obviously you could tell they wanted to bring a lead from the home leg to the Stadium of Light on Tuesday. But
Yeah.
to be fair, Sunderland stuck at it. We stuck into the game, and I think that was a big test of character to stay in it mentally. Even if we hadn't won the game, if we'd come away with a 1-1, then I think more of our fans would probably have took that than not to. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of our fans would have taken that, given that it's away from home. Obviously, the home leg being second doesn't guarantee you're going to go through by any means, but you get a tie away, you get a 1-1 draw away from home where a lot of us would have expected a defeat, and it's away at Coventry, who we hadn't until last night we hadn't beaten for something like 18 years, I think it was, since
Yeah.
February 2007, and that was the first win in Coventry for 40 years. So away from home against Coventry, that tells you how much of a bloody bogey team they are for us. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we would have took a 1-1, but obviously, look, the winning goal. No, I know I'm going to pronounce this. I know for a fact I'm going to pronounce this name wrong, but it's
Van Erich, what a
Van Erwijk. There you go.
mistake.
They've saved my blushes, and I'll still probably get it wrong. Van Erwijk, yeah. What on earth he's doing for that goal, I have no clue, because it's basically I think he tries to delicately hit a pass back to Ben Wilson in the Coventry goal.
Yeah.
Obviously, he underhits it, and to be fair to Mayenda, because he's like as you've seen, he's lightning quick.
Great. And he was in the right path as
Exactly,
well.
right path. He was on. Well, actually, onside wouldn't have mattered because it comes through off Van Elwick, doesn't it? So, but yeah, he basically goes through, anticipates it really well. Ben Wilson, because he's coming out expecting the ball from Van Elwick to go to him, he's then left in a bit of a rock and a hard place with Mayenda, because then Mayenda's coming through. He basically just slightly goes round him and taps it in the back of the net. And in the sheepfolds bar I was in, pandemonium was there. Like, it was literally probably one of the hardest I've ever celebrated a Sunderland goal. And again, I am well aware that there's still another leg. Hopefully, there's another 2 games left this season for us. But that was massive. Even at the time, I said, right, just get a 1-1, get back up here. We'll have the home crowd advantage. Well, if it's an advantage, because I know Doug said last week having the home leg second's an advantage. But get the home crowd for the second leg. Blah blah blah. But to get a win was just absolutely mental. And again, I think it's a big test of heart and how much we. Because I said last week, it's all about how much we want to go up. Because I don't doubt we do want to go up, but what level? What level of effort? What level of desire are you going to have? And
Yeah,
and last night for me answered a lot of those questions. So again, like I've said, I don't want us to rest on our laurels and just. I mean, don't get me wrong. You offer me a draw on Tuesday night now, I will be taking it with absolute open arms as long as no one gets injured. But at the same time, I don't know what you think, but every time in the past when Sunderland have gone into a playoff second leg and we're leading, I always want us to try and treat it as if the first leg hasn't happened and it's 0-0 and you have to go out and win it. But I'm well aware that Coventry are going to have to come out. Coventry in the second leg are going to have to come out and attack us, and they're going to have to come out and give it a right good goal. But this is what you hear the cliche about the home crowd being the 12th man and everything else. I'm really hoping that what your atmosphere would have been like, because from what I've seen, your atmosphere last couple of home games was electric. And
yeah.
obviously it would be because you've obviously got promotion confirmed, you're on the verge of the title. We need an atmosphere like that on Tuesday if we want to get to Wembley. So I think the players have to do their bit, but the fans actually need to be the 12th man. It's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. But yeah, massive result, but tie is far from over yet.
Yeah, massive, well, especially for Mayande, who celebrated his 20th birthday on Thursday to get a
What a
boosted
week for him.
birthday gift from Van Eric's pass back. And actually, do you know, a big credit to Angela Faye because he knew what he was doing, trying to close him down, and he forced Van Eric to make that mistake really hugely as well. So yeah,
Well,
really
yeah, I
huge.
mean, but like I said, oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm someone who's been a bit disappointed with Enzo Lefebvre since he's come in, but I'm well aware of the fact, and I'm hoping it's because he's played within himself almost consciously because we're trying to save him the energy for these playoff games. Something that was interesting, I can't remember, but someone voice messaged me on WhatsApp and said, apparently from what Lampard, a quote from Lampard was apparently that Coventry have had to manage what they've done this week in terms of managing fatigue, managing
Yeah,
the energy levels. And it got me thinking, is it probably that, could that then mean that us getting the playoffs early and rotating is what gives us the extra energy for these games?
yeah.
So I'm hoping, if that's the case, I'm hoping by the, say, half time on Tuesday or towards in the second half of the second leg, I'm hoping the extra energy levels will show for Sunderland, but we shall see. Oh, look who's going to join us.
I know. Give them a good morning to Ant. He's en
Yeah.
route to cry more Fat Frank
Yeah,
as well.
actually, yeah, Leeds fans will probably enjoy that. I've just
Yeah,
realised.
we are actually. So to quite
Yeah,
honest with
no,
you,
okay then. So does that mean that Leeds fans are going to cheer Sunderland on Tuesday night?
what do you think?
Oh no, I think it'll be desperate for Frank Lampard to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, to be fair, yeah, I forgot about the Leeds derby. Was it the spying scandal thing?
Spygate, yeah.
Spygate
Hey,
scandal. Yeah,
it works well with my new glasses I got yesterday, actually. So it works well with that. So
yeah. Well, Jesus, but yeah, you know what, right? Like I said, I think don't get us wrong. If I didn't, I said I wouldn't have put it past us drawing, but as you know, like I was like Annie was what Annie was like on Thursday. I was out like probably tenfold yesterday because, and I mean this with the greatest respect to Bristol City and to Annie, but no one's expecting them to go up. Even he wasn't expecting them to go up. For us, I feel like this is our biggest chance for so long to get back into the Premier League, but especially with the way the state of the system is now in the football pyramid, with the gap between the Prem and the Championship. And I think next year will be a lot harder. Well, a lot harder, maybe a bit harsher, but it will be harder next year, I think, if we don't go up this year. So,
mm,
because I know how good a chance this can be if we perform, that's why I was desperate for us to perform. So, but yeah, I mean, like, my heart rate was still going about an hour after the full time whistle. And if it's like that now, God, what's it going to be like on Tuesday?
yeah.
So we'll see. Are you going to watch it on Tuesday? Do you think?
I will watch it on Tuesday. I've got nothing planned on Tuesday, so I'll be watching it. And don't worry about that one. I
All
don't.
you got to do is, if we're not winning at half time, turn the TV off because when you don't watch, we seem to score goals. So
Yes, I know. That's why I've been doing Leeds for that past month or so. I'm not watching Leeds, so it's why it worked out for me
you know
quite
what?
well.
You'll find this quite funny then. Last Sunday, I went to Sunderland ladies versus Sheffield United ladies at the Stadium of Light, right? The 1-2-1, and the first, and we was 0-0 half time. Sunderland scored a penalty, I think, within the first 5 minutes of the second half. I was in the bloody toilet for it, so I missed it. And then
Typical.
hang on, just bear with me. Then the second, then we went 2-0 up, and the second goal, I was turning around talking to someone else, and I missed that as well. So
A
I'm like,
double typical.
hang on a minute. So I'm watching about 88 minutes of this game. They're doing absolutely nothing, and then the 2 minutes that I turn away and I'm not watching it, they bloody score. So last night I was kind of going right. I'm putting my head down every time we have a good chance, then to see if that see if the
Yeah.
position works. But no, I did see both goals. But yeah, like my heart rate's just literally just settled now. So like that's why I can imagine you're going. Thank God we're not involved in this.
No, fair point as well. Michael said on here, thank God Lee's not to go through the double joke. That is a playoff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Ah,
can
that's an
imagine
incredible
down to the
show.
same.
Well done. I said more leave, I didn't know your first name until now. Actually, because I was on last weekend and I did have my name up appeared as well. So yeah, but fair enough. If you
I
missed
mean,
it,
to be fair, you might have mentioned it in sort of, but actually, no, your name's up. Oh yeah, your name's up on the thing, isn't it? So
yeah.
yeah. Oh well, maybe Michael's only just noticed.
I do need to change the logo because I need to add now have to I think I will have to now add my
Are you going
well
to change it to Spygate Lampard?
no, not really. It will have to be the totally Edwards. I still have to
Yeah,
call it the totally Edwards Levy and Hall football. That's gonna be too long. I might have to shorten Doug's. I have to
you
take
have to
Doug's
try and
name
figure out a
out.
way to shorten the name down.
Yeah, I know. I have to think about that one
But yeah, no
anyway.
morning to you, Mike. Well, yeah, still morning to you, Michael. So yeah,
Yeah, big double for you, Carl. Winning the championship and Brighton investment for Hearts. Yeah, it's huge, especially with Tony Bloom now coming in. Becoming with his £10 million investment. That will hopefully make the difference because I think what I've been hearing from what I've been hearing, Derek McInnes has been linked with the job. From Kelly, the former Bristol City manager, has been linked with the job. And he was actually not at his press conference yesterday. So that looks like there's some movement happening behind the scenes what's going on at Rugby Park in Kilmarnock. So time will tell. Michael, just imagine Sunderland win the playoff, then it's Sunderland get Newcastle, the big North East derby.
yeah,
Especially, you guys are still unbeaten against you prior to the one in the FA Cup, but you've been unbeaten against Newcastle in the league anyway.
yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a very good chance that ends next season. But like, well, we've got to make sure. Well, I mean, to be fair, I want something to get the Premier League mainly for the financial side of it because I think it'll be a game changer for us in terms of like because then if say we go up and came straight back down as a lot of people would expect, then in the Championship we should be stable unless we did a Luton, funnily, then unless we did that, then we should be asserted as like a top end sort of championship level, and the money, the players you can attract with extra parachute money is ridiculous, and fair play to Leeds and Burnley for doing that because they obviously did it well in January, hence why both are back in the Prem. So, yeah, I mean, don't that fixture should be a Premier League one, Sunderland Newcastle, in my opinion. It's too big to not be a regular staple in English football, and maybe I'm biased here, but I think the only derby I can think of that really takes it over in terms of intensity is Celtic Rangers. That's a different level, fair enough. But like Southern Newcastle it's not quite on that level, but it's massive. It's a huge derby game. And but yeah, we've got to put it this way, Michael. Let's hope we get there. Let's hope like I said to Carl. Let's hope we're playing Leeds and Burnley in the Premier League next season, and we're the third team. But got to get past Tuesday first.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Right, well, that's the end of that for one. Listen, let's now focus on the European League, on the European competitions, particularly the Champions League. Arsenal's bid to reach the Champions League ended in failure after the beaten by Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain in a night of drama. What a first goal from Fabio Ruiz. Who in the 20 after 27 minutes as well. And I think, like I said, Bukayo Saka had so much chances. The chances that Donnarumma saved it, but and then after Hakimi scored on the turn in the 72 minute after Party lost the ball. And then Arsenal did get a consolation through Braggs at the 75th minute, but PSG go through to the Champions League after winning 3-1 aggregate. Michael, this was in an inevitable. PSG, we thought they were not going to be, they were close to getting knocked out of the Champions League in the league phase. And they actually they actually got through late and they got to the final. And they've done it without the prima donnas they had in the squad, such as Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar, which has been a huge turnaround for PSG. The way they have been better, a lot more better.
I love the fact you've just said prima donnas. That's just absolutely brilliant. But To be fair, when you watch a sport like rugby, footballers are prima donnas by comparison, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, to be fair, I mean, from PSG's point of view, it's just an example, really, of how it's not necessarily how you start the competition; it's how you finish it. And I think that if you remember, yeah, obviously they were going to have a task when they were nearly going out of the league phase of the competition, but they've got themselves to the final, and it's an incredible. I suppose to say, for a club like PSG, they should be competing to get to this sort of level on a regular basis. But from the position they were in, it's absolutely an achievement for them, you could argue, to get to where they are now.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Especially in the last Champions League period final, the loss to Bayern Munich during that COVID pandemic one, so that's a huge difference. Do you know what? And it's a good thing what Reese said, building a team, smart recruit, always go for buying the best players. And that's true. I think PSG learned a lot. They had to stop doing the bling bling and starting getting the best young players. And I think they're now learning from what Real Madrid have done in the past up to now buying young players. It's now working for PSG, especially they spent over £1 billion since the Qataris took over in 2012. So it is a huge with that one, regardless of that fact. And what Michael said, also have no recognised safe five. We'll have it, and it's out. But the problem is Arteta did not want to get a striker, and that's a striker is huge for the
Costing them, isn't
champion.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's absolutely costing me. So if he doesn't want to get a striker in January, then that's just nonsensical as far as I'm concerned. But quickly on the thing with PSG, like this comes back to what I was saying, because if you look in the League Earn, for example, there's not the revenue there probably isn't as big even as it is in, say, the Championship, I'd imagine. And I know the Championship comparison to the Premier League is like minuscule. It's like that,
yeah.
really. But okay, compare the League Earn to the Premier League. It's no comparison at all.
No, especially with the PSG's
Yeah, and
broadcast revenue.
there's a reason. For example, sorry, Carl. There's a reason why when people buy players from, say, English clubs, that the fees are so inflated. It's mental. Whereas if you buy from abroad, the fees are naturally going to be lower because clubs are going to need the money more, because there's not as much there's not as much income in that regard. The only league I can think of that maybe has a good level of money attached to it is La Liga, compared to the because of the
Yeah,
money that, say, Real Madrid, for example, have spent on, say, Jude Bellingham as a good example. But even then, it's again, it's not quite. You're not gonna. It's not a surprise to see someone like Wolves or West Ham or Crystal Palace arguably spend more than some of these bigger European giants, or at least as much, or not far off as much as the European giants abroad. So it's. Yeah, but you're right. I think this one means, like Michael said earlier, it just comes down. It just comes down to smart recruitment, as Michael said, because you've got to. Because obviously, again, it's all good having the money, but if you waste it, then it doesn't mean anything. But again, if PSG are sort of balancing out, having the experience of, say, Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, and everything else, but then you're blooding in these younger players and getting them used to playing with these players, then that'll make them bigger assets, but it'll also make them better players in the long run, by having been associated with experienced class players like what they have. So,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So, no, but fair play to PSG. Fair play to
Well, fair
PSG.
play for PSG. But I was saying, but since we're talking about League Earn, because their TV ratings has been so bad because they've had issues with certain previous TV deals, and unfortunately, I think what I'm hearing, they're going down what La Liga's doing, having their own digital TC channel as well. So, and here we go,
You've
here we
seen his
go.
name.
See the
Stop
name, Howie
crying!
the lad,
Thank
aka and
God!
Do you know what? To be fair, good on to and for remember it's Howe, not Howe, because a lot of people confuse that.
yeah.
Newcastle's Howe, but yeah. Dare I ask if you were watching it last night, Ant, or is that the stupidest question I've ever asked you?
What a wonderful morning. Can we just appreciate the quiet that I've got around me at the moment? Like, it has been the loudest week at work of Cobb's going up, Leicester's going down. It's all gone fucking quiet now, hasn't it?
Well, we'll see. We'll see come Tuesday night, Wednesday morning what it's going to be like. But I
Let
can,
me let me enjoy this, because you have no idea how miserable this year
yeah.
has been at
To
work
be
for me.
fair,
Every
yeah.
week going in, loss after loss.
So is this you on the start of the week just going, I like Sunderland, me?
Oh, I fucking love Sunderland, mate. Massive club, footballing institution.
Guys,
Oh,
if anyone's
God.
watching yet, you should have seen what he's been like. You should have seen what he's like in our group chat.
You should actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
His hatred for Coventry is probably unparalleled to anything I've ever seen elsewhere.
In
I
fact, I
know.
didn't mind
Bloody
Cov a few
nuts.
years ago, but since I've lived a bit closer to Coventry, the amount of Coventry fans I have to deal with now, it's like, fuck off.
Well, there you go. We try to keep swearing down, but Anne's just ruined that straight away.
Hey,
sorry.
don't worry.
Sorry.
Hey, this show's always going to contain cause of swearing, so there's no point at all.
Well, I'll tell you what then. I'll quickly, if you don't mind, Carl, I'll quickly ask Anne. Go on then. What did you think about the game last night?
I thought it wasn't pretty.
Beyond just saying laugh at Coventry.
I thought it wasn't pretty, but you did a job on them, and they apart from their goal, they created next to nothing. Like for all the ball and possession they had, you contained them well, and I thought you looked more dangerous when you were counter-attacking than they did when they were aimlessly putting balls in the box. I thought Ballard dealt with everything quite well.
It was a
Thought
monster.
O'Neill had a good game, and honestly, it just felt like there was phases of that game that they were keeping the ball for the sake of keeping the ball, not actually trying to get their like key men like Sakamoto, Radoni. I know he scored the goal, but they needed to be on the ball more to cause you problems. But you limited them doing that.
Yeah, Hadji Wright as well. But for some reason, Hadji Wright keeps getting played off the left when he plays centrally. He's extremely dangerous playing on that sort of position. So I don't get the idea behind that with
Lampard's tactics last night. No, I didn't get that. It was a bit surprising, but
well, yeah, because playing on the left sort of limits Hadji Wright's capabilities, I think. But to be fair, like I said, I mean, to be fair, I did kind of have Ant at the back of my mind when Mayenda scored at the end. I was just thinking he's probably celebrating that almost as hard as what I'm celebrating it right now. All the way, like I enjoy Ant just from wherever he's watching it, just sort of like just singing anti-Cov songs and showing how much he's enjoying it. But who knows? But yeah, I'm all like I said. I'm all right for them. Like I said to Carl earlier, I'm all right for the moment. But come Sunday night, Monday morning is when I'm going to be like.
Oh, I'm really hoping after the big amount I've given it after last night, but you don't go and throw it away.
I'm blaming you if we do that.
You are going to put up with blame, mate.
To be fair, second leg being at the Stadium of Light, I'd like to think that the players will be bouncing up for it. But it's all about it's about balancing the tactics of trying to combat that Coventry are going to have to come out and attack us, but also not bend over and go 2-0 up.
The thing is, their away record is shocking. Like their home record's brilliant. Their away record recently is not good.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Sorry, that I think since Lampard's took charge, it's only before last night. Only Leeds and Burnley had gone there and won. I think. Is that right? And obviously now, obviously we lost 3-0. Well, as Ant was there for it, we lost 3-0 in the league game. It's such a night and day difference, those two games. It's mental. But yeah, I mean, their away record is shocking, and that's kind of what I thought. If it ended 1-1, I wouldn't have complained with that too much. But yeah, I mean, no, their away record's shocking, but take advantage of it then. If you don't turn up, then it doesn't matter.
The only thing is, you can't play the same way you played last night at home.
No, I don't think so. I think you have to be a bit cautious to a degree, but not to the level that we were last night. And I had no problem with it last night because away from home, Coventry's home record since Lampard's come in general has been excellent, and you're going to have to do a lot of dogged work with and without the ball. So it's like, I know Leicester were down to 10 men last year, but Leicester found it out last year that you have to sometimes do a lot of dogged work at the CBS when you're there. So it's and especially for us, considering we've often done crap against Coventry for about God knows how many years at this point. So yeah, but yeah, it's a big game. Like I said, we're not there yet, but if we're on it, I think we get over the line. But we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Absolutely, as well. Right, going back to the Champions League as well. Yeah. What a game on Tuesday night again from Inter Milan and Barcelona. Like I said, Inter Milan winning 4-3, going through to the final 7-6 on aggregate. This game was up and down again, like it was last week after the 3-3 draw. Guys, I don't know how this semi-final was probably one of the best semi-finals over the 2 legs we've ever seen, probably in our history.
I'll let you two take this because I was at work, so I didn't see any of this, but I have seen it was an absolute goal fest. Absolute mental.
It's going to go down as one of the all-time classic semi-finals, isn't it? 3-3 in first leg, and then obviously the second leg was insane as well. But there's something about Inter, and I don't know what it is. They seem to at the moment just have a way of getting results. Because I thought Barca were better for large parts of that game, and they still managed to get through. But what was the geezer's name? The 37-year-old centre back scoring right at the end. I love.
Frattesi, yeah.
proper stuff like that.
I know. It's what a proper moment the game was, and I have to say, I just when Francesco Abate scored the net, that was just it just raised the roof in that because they knew that Inter had to score before extra time if they didn't get through, and that was the moment, So, like I said, it's going to be interesting how this final, and it's the final that some of them was expecting. Two teams have beaten Arsenal, which is PSG and Inter. They're the two teams that beat Arsenal this season. So, and like I said, Reese, he's still with Arsenal. I can't stand them or the fans. Yeah, they have been. They think they're entitled to Arsenal fans completely.
Do you know what? Right? Do you know when I think of Arsenal? I think of AFTV, but I think of the guy who keeps saying, "Is it Troops?" That keeps on saying, "You see what I'm saying, fam?" You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, Troops. Yeah,
I keep thinking of that every 5 minutes, and it's just hilarious.
You know what's mad about Arsenal fans, and I've said this for a long time. It's like when you go to the Emirates. I don't know if either of you guys have been before. The fans that you meet before the game and like the match-going Arsenal fans are actually some of the soundest you'll meet sort of in the Premier League. But the online fans are just absolute ridiculous, and it just makes me really dislike them and not want to achieve anything just because their fans they're like a cult. Honestly, they are just honestly ridiculous because they've got the best goalkeeper in the league, the best right back in the league, the best centre back in the league, the best manager in the league, the best midfield in the league, the best right winger in the league. Then why has Leicester City won every major honour more recently than you?
Why are you why are you describing Newcastle instead of Arsenal?
No,
to be fair, like I mean, I suppose it's because AFTV probably has played a massive impact in that.
They have, yeah.
It's more about how that. And don't get me wrong, for Robbie from there, he's done brilliantly to assemble what he has, and everyone who goes on there have the bollocks to put out their opinions when it's on a platform that's going to be shared across the millions and millions of people. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's not just Arsenal. I don't think that's just an Arsenal. I think Arsenal might be a bigger example of it than many. But but that's not just an Arsenal thing. That is every set of fans has online idiots. It's just a question of how Arsenal's percentages of idiot fans probably stand out more because of this, because they're one of the biggest clubs in the country, aren't they? So you're going to notice that a lot more. But what is quite funny is how if Tottenham win the Europa League final, then Tottenham's won a European trophy recently. Was it much more recently than Arsenal have?
Well, Arsenal have only ever won a Cup Winners' Cup, haven't they? They don't. Like Ipswich Town have got more of a European pedigree than Arsenal.
He's got a point. That is actually a good point. Yeah.
By the way, can I just point out, if you're talking about the Europa League final later on, how funny is it that Tottenham and Man U have been absolutely garbage in the Premier League, and yet one of them is going to be in the Champions League next season?
I am going to come on to that actually right now about those two teams because
there you go. Nice segue for you.
I don't know how. I thought in a way Tottenham was going to struggle in Bordeaux on Thursday because I thought with everything, because even the Bordeaux fans were trying to distract them with the fireworks, and that didn't work out quite well. And then the artificial pitch, I think Ange's learned from his experience at Celtic when they did train on the plastic pitch, and Celtic lost Bordeaux Glimp a few years ago. This time he's learned from it and what to win for Spurs without James Maddison, who's out for the rest of the season. Two goals from Dominic Solanke and Pedro Porro in the last, in the second half, finished, helped them finish into their first European title in 41 years to stay for the hunt. But it was a tricky semi-final, but yeah, give credit to Spurs. They got to the final after a postseason, and also Manchester United, they were poor in the first half, but what a second half. Both goals from Mason Mount to, 2 goals from Mason Mount to let Man United win 4-1 in the game, 7-1 aggregate. But like you said, these are the two teams that have been so bad in the Premier League, and one of them could be in the Champions League despite where they fit.
Can I ask you guys a question? And I'm not saying this just to wind like any Arsenal fans up who are watching. I actually genuinely interested in what you think with this. If Tottenham or United win the Europa League, and I don't care, I know that they're like 16th and 17th in the league respectively. If they go on and win the Europa League, have they had a better season than Arsenal? Because ultimately they've won a trophy and they've qualified for the Champions League next season. Whereas Arsenal have not won a trophy but qualified for the Champions League next season.
I suppose it comes down to what financially. It depends on from what perspective you're looking at. As a fan, probably, but also at the same time, they've been so bad in the Prem that it's a bit like You can't just forget that, can you?
Yeah,
Financially, Arsenal's probably had a better season. I don't know how much more money you get from finishing as low as you have done and being in the Europa League and
it's
not the
quite
Champions
low.
League.
It's quite
That's what I
not
was
as
going to
low,
say.
probably under 10 million.
I was
Yeah,
going to say Arsenal surely would have got more money from finishing in the top five. Because I think it's a
top
top
second place. Yeah,
is a top five that gets Champions League this year. I think it
top
is.
five get Champions League this year. Yeah,
So hang on. So what's going to happen? So what's going to happen now with Tottenham and Man U then? Do we get 6 Champions League spots? Does fifth
It
now just
depends
Yeah.
get
on what
Europa League?
happens with Chelsea in the Conference League, doesn't it?
So say if Chelsea win the conference, then what happens there then?
So
Because
then
this European placing system's really confusing me
So
now.
what happened was it'll go to the lowest ranked team in the Premier League if Chelsea did win the Conference League, and then somehow they're in the Champions League. It will go to one of the other teams.
Is in the lowest ranked, the highest ranked team that's not currently in Europe by
Yeah,
league position. All right, okay. Hang on, so how many teams are we going to have in Europe next year?
we could
might
have
have
up to
up,
8,
might
can't we?
might up to 7 at
Oh yeah,
least.
because the loser of Tottenham Man U won't be in Europe, won't they? Next season.
Yeah, no, it'll be 6. No, it'll be 6. You're right. It'll be 6. So technically,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be
Right, is that 6 in Europe overall or just Champions
6
League?
in the Champions. So 6 in the Champions League if we win it. Two in the Europa League and 1 in the Conference League.
But hang on, so say if Chelsea finish in the Champions League spot and they win the conference, then does
Yeah,
that mean
so
the European spot, their Europa League spot goes to the next club that's not in Europe?
yeah, so which is likely to be Bournemouth because that's what we yeah.
But
That'd
then
be
if
incredible.
Crystal Palace win the FA Cup as well, that's another European space.
Yeah, there's another yeah.
We're going to
But
be
that
taking
will,
over half of European competitions now, aren't we? The amount of teams in
I think
it.
it's only 2 teams that can go in English. You can go in Europa League, 1 in the Conference League. Yeah, because it's how the system works, especially the coefficient ranking works. So
Yeah, this is all confusing. To be
it's
fair,
gonna be
actually,
confusing. Yeah.
here's one for Ant though. You know what you probably should do then? You know, wasn't there a season where West Ham got in the Europa League once for like the fair play thing when they got the least amount of yellow cards?
Ooh,
What Ant should probably City's players drops down to if they win the cup.
cup. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm more confused now. Well, what I was going to quickly say was maybe Ant should go. Well, we've done the fair play thing by letting everybody beat us every single game of the season. So just give us the Europa League, yeah.
The thing is, I wouldn't mind it if we got it for something half decent like that. I'd like to see our team get a few yellow cards and show a bit of fight.
Yeah.
Like Roy Keane says, just kick someone, make yourself feel better.
What is it? Goes, I might just smash into somebody just to make me feel better.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't be against that.
yeah, it's true.
By the way, that was incredible. Was that the year that he got the Centurions when they got
Yes.
100 points? Yeah, that's mad. That in a normal season, Sean Dyche wins the Manager of the Season that year, but it's because Man City obviously got that many points that they win it. So what?
Yeah. So I've got some stuff on here. So I've got the permutations. So the
Okay.
Premier League was additional Champions League place. So the winners of the 20 FA Cup final 3 Man City, that 6th team will qualify for the Europe but if the FA Cup winners finish in the top 6, the 7th place team will qualify, which at the moment it is Aston Villa. So yeah, and then the EFL Cup because Newcastle did win it, but that means it will go down. The champs, it will go down to 7th or 8th place, who are not already qualified for the competition.
Right. Okay. I think I've got the gist of that.
Yeah, it's just about. I'm slowly getting it. So if Palace wins it, they will qualify for the Europe for the Europa League. But if Man City win it, it will go to the 7th place team, which is Aston Villa at the moment.
So is that Europa League?
Yes.
Right. So
And then the Conference League, because Newcastle are qualify for it, but if they qualify for the Champions League or the Europa League, it will pass down to the highest team that are not already in 7th or 8th, unless the FA Cup winners have qualified for the Champions League. Then it's 8th place, which is Bournemouth.
Imagine if you're a Bournemouth fan going through all this right now.
Actually, Brentford still got a lot to play as well as Brighton and Fulham. So.
Oh well, honestly, this is probably the most mental in terms of the end of the season that I can think of in terms of how many teams can qualify for Europe. It's that is mad. Well, I'll tell you what. The question quickly, Dan, because I know Ant says he's got to shoot off here. But to answer his question, do you think that Tottenham? Actually, I'd be keen to see Weekly Steel Chair. I've forgotten what his name is.
Reese.
Sorry, Reese. I'm shite with names. But actually, Reese is probably best placed to answer this. Then if you win the Europa League, mate, do you think you've had a better season than Arsenal then? Considering you
That's
both
a good question. Yeah,
yeah, because it's like as a fan, you probably value winning something over finishing in the top five. But I'd
yeah.
imagine that Arsenal's board would probably be happier with the season because they get more money for
Well,
finishing.
he does answer that actually.
Oh, sorry, I missed that for some reason. A Norfolk campaign with footballs. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, well, in which case, if you're going to go down that route, then yeah, probably. I mean, say if Tottenham and Man U finish 16th and 17th, then I don't think they're that low actually. I don't think both of them are that low. But anyway, the point is, yeah, you could certainly argue that because if you're then getting into the Champions League, then you probably try to forget about the Premier League and just say, right, yeah, Europa League, we just turned it on, and that competition is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And quick question from Reese early on, actually, from not 15 minutes ago. With Leicester going down, going championship next season, who do you want to get the job, and where do you need to recruit this summer?
Thing is, I don't think we need a huge amount of players. I really don't. I think we need a striker and maybe another centre back. I want Russell Martin as the manager next season. Russell Martin or Danny Roll. If it's Ruud van Nistelrooy, I might cry and I may be handing back my season ticket before we start. So,
Mm,
yeah.
I don't think you'll have Van Nistelrooy going into the next season.
I
no,
hope not.
I
He
don't.
absolutely
I
shot.
think he'll leave. Well, leave / get sacked, one of the two.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
I think he will leave because if you sack him, you got to pay that compensation, won't you, as well?
There's unsure if there's compensation or not because apparently there might be a break clause in his contract once we're official, like the season's officially over if we've been relegated. So obviously we've been relegated. So now that's happened. Apparently there is a break clause in the contract.
Okay, all right, that's interesting then. And a pleasure as always. We'll let you go. Enjoy laughing your way pretty much with just to laugh at Frank Coventry. So we'll let you go. But thanks for joining us.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, Ant. See you
Cheers,
later.
man. Take care.
Oh,
Yeah, well, Michael,
that
that was
was fun.
just
Yeah, to be
uh,
fair, well, quickly from what Reece said, yeah, I actually think yeah, this the championship alone, the managerial departures is absolutely mental. I think Danny Rowe will go to one of Leicester or Southampton.
yeah.
But
I still think that.
I
Yeah,
still got a good feeling it's going to be Southampton, personally. And I
I
have a
think Max Ferreras may go probably to Leicester.
oh well, I'll tell you what, that's a sensational step up for Cifuentes if he goes to either of them really, but particularly if he does go to Leicester.
Yeah,
We must be doing.
we
We
are
must be.
supposed to do better. Neither of us Spurs should be, but we got the Europe. Well, that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got the impression of because when I saw you, I was like, "What, the 15th and 16th?" But then, oh, do you see the meme? What was it? Was like someone playing F1 or something, and he goes, "Oh, easy top three. Oh yeah, finished easy top three." It's like so going with Tottenham and Man U. Easy top three. What 16th?
Yeah,
So yeah, but like no, I think Reece is right. I think both of them are kind of really gambling on the fact that okay, we're not going to do anything in the Premier League, so let's just make sure we go all out in the Europa League. So the issue for that is for one of them, the season's going to end absolutely awfully. So I've just realised Man United's got a -9 goal difference. Good
yeah,
God.
yeah. That's the worst ever goal difference they've had
Yeah.
in the Premier League history. So, yeah.
Reece is right here, by the way. Roland Cifuentes would be two clever appointments, 100%.
Oh yeah, no, that's great.
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
surprised West Brom aren't pushing harder to get Cifuentes. I think that'd be a really sound appointment for someone like them, but,
I know,
but,
I
yeah.
know.
But anyway, sorry, go on.
Well, we're briefly going to the Conference League because there's only one English team there. Chelsea did get through after with a goal from Kieran Dewsbury Hall, winning 1-0 against Dudgeon and finishing the game at 5-1. 5-1 and aggregate. Chelsea in another final again in a couple of years, in the last few years, another European final. They could be the first team ever to win that won the Europa League, won the Champions League, and won the Conference League. That has never happened yet since the Conference League has been created.
Well, so like the one team's won all three competitions in
Yeah,
Europe. Well, records had to be broken.
yeah, absolutely as well. And as well, Fiorentina did not get back into the Europa League final. They missed out. They missed out of final after the last time they got to the final twice before drawing 2-2 against Betis. And Anthony, the meme guy, the meme of Manchester United, scored a goal and assisted the late winner as well. He's having a good time in Betis. And like what we said, Chelsea got a massive. No Spanish teams have lost a final since 2001.
That actually, to be fair, when you actually look at it that way, that should be a really, really good tie. Like you say, Betis aren't a bad team, are they? So
No,
yeah, I'll be quite well. I think I'm trying to think if I'm at work for that because is it on a Wednesday?
it will be on a Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday. I know it's on the 28th of May, but I'm trying to remember if that is a Wednesday.
it is a Wednesday, which is
Oh,
the
okay.
last before the Champions
Oh, hang
League.
on, I'm at work early that day. I think. Oh yeah, I might actually be able to watch it. All right then, fair enough. Well, like I said, hopefully I'm in the phase that you are because they're having. Hopefully we've won the playoffs, gone up, and then I'm buzzing and I can like, all right, let's watch the last few finals and see what happens. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Europa League 2 / UEFA Cup. They won
Oh
the.
yeah. They won the Cup Winners' Cup.
There you go then. I mean, fair for Menzo Maresca's point of view. I mean, look, I know the Conference League's not exactly the trophy that Chelsea fans would have dreamed of winning, obviously, but at the same time, it is a trophy now. You're in a final, so if you if Maresca finishes in the Champions League places and wins a European trophy, then you can't have much complaints really for a first season, as far as I'm concerned. And
No, you
especially,
can't. You can't.
I don't think their expectations were that high going into the start of the season. If I'm right.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. So yeah, give credit to Maresca for especially he's only fielded a lot of the young players in that Conference League for much all this season.
Great experience for them, then, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been. I think they had one of their debut to one of the young Chelsea players this week. I think he was only like 15 that was on Thursday.
Yeah.
So as well. So it's not a surprise as well. So just see who did they had the debut. Oh, it had the debut to 60-year-old Reggie Walsh. So yeah. And like I said, only changes Chelsea did from Sunday.
Well, and there you go. So no, it's going to be a very, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very interesting final for
with less money in preparation, I take
you know what? To be fair, right, I will say this: Arteta has made an absolute tit of himself recently, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I mean, what was the? I mean, I know it's against Newcastle, so really, so it was. But even I admit this, it was one of the most laughable. I think he said something like, we found it difficult against Newcastle because the match ball apparently wasn't right."
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, God.
And I must admit, I laughed my laugh.
Listen, the Puma ball is going to be is going to be the new match ball for Premier League next season. So he's going to have to get used to it more and not bitch about it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, why you just cut? You just all you do, and I get it. I know head coaches want to stick by their players, and I know that they don't want to criticize them too much. But come on, you got to think of something a bit better than that. Like, oh, sorry, I was going to go score the goal, but the net was the net was shaped funny, so I didn't. So it's like, well, it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just what a tit.
Yeah, I hate how much he addicted he's become because he was amazing to watch at Rangers. I was there for his debut. Wow, yeah, forgot these days at Rangers as well. Arteta, he was a good player out there actually for them before he went to Everton. So,
actually, quickly for Reece, quick on this. I think he's been injured a lot recently. But how's Amad Diallo been doing? Because I miss my sweet prince. And don't get me wrong, we were never ever going to get him back after his first loan. But I think he came on. I think he came off the bench the other night.
yeah,
Sure that he did. So
yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, to Amad Diallo. He's the. Oh, I'll tell you what. If Man United do win the Europa League, I would love it. If they do end up winning, I'd love him to score the winner. I'd absolutely love Amad to score the winner because he's technically one of the best players that I've seen in recent years. Easily played for us, and he's he lit up the championship when we had him 2 seasons ago. So yeah, but no, Jabellini ball all over again.
Yeah.
Amman has been exciting since he returned. He contributed the other night. I think he starts in the final. See, that's interesting now because I remember when Ten Hag was still there and there was debate about Ahmad when he had a future there. I was going, right, if we can just get the Prem, we might sign him. No, Almiron rates him and they're going to have common sense now. They're going to tie him down to a contract. We're not going to get him.
Exactly, yeah.
Never mind.
I know.
Good for
right.
him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well fair. He's actually done quite well. Actually, he's been probably he's been one of the best players this season, despite where they are at the moment. So
he's not got dragged down by who's around him.
Absolutely right. The games on Monday night. We got the playoffs semi-finals of the second leg between Sheffield United and Burnley. That's on Monday. Tuesday night it is. Michael, you'll be going to the game between Sunderland.
Absolutely, got me ticket for it.
Yeah, get your ticket for it. Sunderland and Coventry City.
I'll be nervous, but can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Wednesday in the Scottish Premiership, all the midweek fixtures. Hearts are home against St Johnstone. Kilmarnock go away to Motherwell with Ross County. A fight for their relegation battle against Dundee. Rangers at home to Dundee United. Hibernian go away to Page to face St Mirren. And Aberdeen at home to Celtic. And in the League One playoff semi-finals, it's Stockport against Leyton Orient as well. Ooh, yes, as well. Yes, Michael, it is the decider tomorrow with our Liga title as well. Tomorrow as well, in El Clasico as well. Thursday's games we have the League One playoff semi-finals between Charles Athletic and Wycombe Wanderers. Atletico Madrid go away to Osasuna. Barcelona could wrap up the title, but even just tomorrow, but may wrap up the title on Thursday against their rivals Espanyol, and another local derby. Yeah, Friday we got the two Premier League games between Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspur going away to Aston Villa, and Chelsea at home to Manchester. That's very rare for two teams. That's because of the Europa League final, so that's why they had to move those games. So
Oh
not
yeah, isn't
surprised.
the Europa League final like the following Wednesday? It's like the
Yeah,
Wednesday the
yeah,
21st, I think.
yeah. It
Something like
is the
that.
first before the Europa League and then the Champions League. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, can I just point out, you're just looking at the playoffs there. So Walsall Chesterfield, does the first leg of that take place tomorrow?
Yes, it
It
does.
feels like the gap between the Championship playoff semis are shorter than the bloody League One, League Two ones.
Yeah, I know, I
Uh,
know, I know. And then in the semi-finals, Doug's Livingston at home to Partick Thistle in the semi-finals as well. And then on next Saturday is the FA Cup final between Crystal Palace and Man City at 4:30. And then in the Scottish Premiership, the Championship Group, Celtic at home to St Mirren, Dundee United against Aberdeen, and Hibs against Rangers. That is going to be the last of the Scottish Premiership games of that weekend as well. And especially in the Premier League next weekend, we've got Everton against Southampton next Sunday at 12 o'clock. Forest go away to London Stadium to face West Ham at quarter past 2. And then we've got two games of free cup between Brentford and Fulham and Leicester at home to Ipswich Town, which is going to be another El Crapico. And then Arsenal at home to Newcastle at 4:30. And then the bottom six, Kilmarnock go away to Hearts, which could be Derek McInnes' last game if he against his future club, if that potentially happens, and Motherwell away to Ross County probably decided downfall of Ross County being relegated, and Dundee need to win to try to keep their hopes to in the semi final playoffs against one of the championship teams as well. So yeah, some huge games. And then Monday night, and then Brighton at home against Liverpool as well. And then more games in the Premier League on Tuesday the 20th. Palace at home to Wolves, and both go away to Man City. And then we will have the Europa League final on Wednesday the 21st between Spurs and Manchester United. Yeah, and the playoff semi-final between one of the teams in the Scottish Premiership and one of the teams in the Scottish
oh, is that the
Championship.
relegation playoff?
Yeah, that is
Yeah, of course
relegation
it was.
playoffs, so that's going to be interesting. And then we finish off with the Scottish Cup final between Aberdeen against Celtic as well, next on the 24th. And then the
Hopefully
last
that day we're playing at Wembley.
Yep, and then the last of the fixture rounds, we have got these fixtures here, including probably one of the deciders between Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, who goes into the Champions League spot if they're still in it, and then Man United, where Aston Villa and Newcastle have to beat Everton, as well. So a lot of exciting games coming up over the next couple of weeks as well, completely. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting where things are going to be going, but
Frantic end
who
of the season,
who
yeah.
who knows? Who knows? But we are going to finish. So let's finish off with some stuff as well. As Reese has said, as a big Rangers fan, Rangers will screw it 100%. Barcelona are definitely going to win, destroy Real Madrid all season. AC Milan, this is his teams actually. AC has a chance of a double, fourth, and Napoli for Serie A. Napoli doing well at the moment. Villa fans are raging because of the move in the fixtures as well. I can understand that, but listen, if some of the UPTs get a fair advantage of moving their fixtures to prepare for final, why should we should be having that advantage as well? If we're playing in the final, we have to reschedule, but we don't want to reschedule. So what?
Well, yeah, it's about if you get extra money for reschedule, and then it's probably a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. It is. Holmes is reset. His hometown Livingston will win that. Hope they do. Rangers overlooking McInnes again, which is insane. Yet they're considering Sean Dyche plays the same football, although Rangers need an attacking manager. Yeah, your managerial situation is going to have to be interesting because I don't think Barry Ferguson will get the job.
No, I don't. But I tell you what, for Rangers though, I think one of the biggest things at Rangers is a big cultural shift. I think needs to happen, because if you actually look at it, if you take the step back and you say, well, from their point of view, being this far behind Celtic quite regularly isn't good enough. So they need to have a clear alignment on what strategy they want going forward, what manager they want going forward, or head coach, whichever way you want to go, and then obviously the easy bit is start recruiting some good players. But I think players as well who can cope for playing of a club of that stature and a club that will be rightly expecting to win things. So we shall see. It's like I said, I say this practically every club, but it's a huge summer for Rangers. Like every summer feels like a huge one for Rangers.
I think
But,
Gattuso could be a
yeah,
good fit for Rangers. He has played for the club, you
yeah.
know.
Well, well, I think they've just got to make sure they get the end of the season at least get a bit of good mood going, and then try and get there.
I think the takeover of will by when it gets done by June
Yeah,
will be helpful as
yeah. I think
well.
that will be. Yeah, I think that the current regime are kind of limited in how they can progress Rangers, aren't they? So I think
Very, yeah, very. Mulligan from Dundee is a good start. I will go for Leonard Miller too. Yeah, he's another good player as well, actually.
if you look as well, like for Celtic, for example, I know Reece will probably hate this, but like for Celtic, for example, they're well run in the sense that they can sell a player for 25 million. Like, I think was it Jota? I think they signed in
Jota
January.
signed for perfect
They,
million,
they,
and he
they
went back
sold him
for
for like 3 times the price that they ended up buying him back for, I believe.
yeah, and then now he's now injured for 9 months.
Okay, scrap that then. But yeah, but the point stands though. Like if sometimes this is what I think a lot of football fans in general don't understand is that unfortunately a lot of clubs now have to go by selling at the right time is massive as well because if you sell at the right time, what it can do is it can enable you to progress to the next level and progress to signing, be able to have the financial clout to sign better players. So
Yeah, no,
and as
absolutely.
much as like we said, it's annoying, but it's true. But yeah, it is. Isn't unfortunately for Rangers, Celtic have been able to manage their stuff, get their shit together, basically manage
Yeah,
themselves well by selling players at the right time and then going out and signing players that are for a cheaper fee, but not losing the quality. Like that's the unfortunate, and especially in the Scottish Premiership. I mean, the money you get there. I know that Celtic and Rangers on TV practically every week, but it's nowhere near the same level as it is probably even in the Premier League and probably even the EFL to some degree with the.
yeah, no, that's true.
So player sales are their biggest source of revenue apart from the fans.
Yeah, and they are trying to reorganize the league again. But I think that it's this the Premiership one has been scrapped, but they still want to reorganize the Championship, League One, League Two. But
Yeah,
over than everything else at the moment, I think they're not going to try to expand it to 14 or 16 teams at this moment in the Premiership, but they want to change the organization structure in the other leagues below them. So
yeah. Get Celtic and Rangers out of it, and then see how good, and then see how watched the league is.
yeah, I know. Actually, before we finish on, we just got some sad news. The former Hibs majority stakeholder, some Tom Farmer, who was the founder of the Quick Fit Garage Trade, has died at the age of 84. His family announced that he died peacefully at his home in the city on Friday. He built the world before selling the company through the world's biggest ultimate chain before selling to Ford in 1999. So Tom owned a majority stake in Hibernian FC for more than 20 years, selling his interest in the club in 2019. So Tom Farmer has died at the age for the former Hibs majority stake shareholder.
Yeah, well, obviously it goes without saying, but rest in peace to rest in peace to him, and obviously condolences to friends and family. And the good thing at least is that if he died peacefully in sleep, hopefully it was the least painful
He
of.
has been, for what I remember, he has been ill for quite a long time. And I remember a couple of years ago when I was on Sun Radio, we were trying to get him get to interview him a few couple. We never got a chance to because his health was quite bad
Yeah,
back in late 2010s. His health was quite bad, so we were trying to get him to interview him, but we never did actually. You know, and that's one of the shame because I would like to, get what his interest why of buying a Hibernian of saving that club as well. So it's a shame that we never get a chance to interview myself and Doug. So that because when we were doing our own show on Sun Radio,
yeah,
we had the opportunity to interview him, but his health issues was being an issue during that time.
yeah.
So
I mean, at least hopefully he died in the most peaceful way possible.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
what little? It's not a condolence. It's not a comfort to his family and friends, really. But yeah, it's still something.
Yeah, absolutely as well. And we'll see Doug as well. Rest in peace to Tom Farmer as well.
Likewise.
Yeah, as well. Listen, Michael, thank you for joining me as usual. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll have you back on next weekend to see the outcome after the outcome.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'm talking about a Wembley trip next weekend, but we'll see.
Yeah, so
And
as
I
well.
mean, for us, not for Coventry, because I'm very superstitious. But yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely as well. Michael, thank you for joining us as always. I'll
Thanks for
put
having me.
your channel in the description after this show as well. So thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me. Great chat. Great chat as always. Quickly for Michael. No, it doesn't.
Not anymore now.
It used to, but now it doesn't.
Absolutely.
Just get the job done, Sunderland, on Tuesday, please. Just get to the final. Oh,
Michael, thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
likewise.
And that is thank you for Michael for joining us as well. And that is the end of the show as well. Thank you very much for listening. Please hit that subscription button. We're trying to get to one. We've got one way from 90. We want to get to 100 by the end of the season as well. I'll be back on next week at the same time at 11:15 here on the Total Leaving Home Football podcast as well. If you want to watch Doug's channel, Doug is on live later tonight at 8 p.m. I'll put his channel in the description as well for you guys to make sure you watch his stream later on as well. But everyone, have a good weekend. And it's a nice sunny day. Enjoy the sunshine as well, wherever you are. And like I said, thank you for Reese, to Michael, to Doug as well for joining. And like I said, great show. Thank you for Reese for joining as well. Reese, if we can get you on next weekend, I would appreciate it. We'll talk about the upcoming Europa League final as well. So we'll get you on next weekend as well too. But as I said, everyone, have a good weekend. Take it for now. We'll see you at the same time at 11:15. Bye-bye.